Hey everybody, I'm out here in my backyard right now. Just wanted to shoot a little quick video for you guys. I know we're out on the boat sometimes. We don't always get a chance to show you the tackle that we're using or maybe how it's rigged up. Try to, but I'm still working on getting better at it. So real quick, I thought I'd show you a couple pieces of the stuff that we used recently in American Lake and we've been fishing with in a couple of the other lakes. So we've been fishing a lot lately, and I've shown you this rod before. This is the hybrid lead core rig that we've been using. It's got about a 60-foot top shot of 20-pound fluorocarbon on it. This one's got 4 colors of lead core. We've been fishing 2 to 2.5 colors of lead core just to get the presentation down in the water. And underneath that is a little bit of 20-pound braid, and finally a little bit of 10-pound copolymer just to cover the arbor. So it's a fair amount of knot tying. You could see on the last video that we did, we lost one of the rigs completely when they got all tied up. So we were out there tying knots on the boat. But once you get it set up, it's a pretty good rig up. I just want to show you real quick. Lately, we've been fishing spoons. At least the last time we went out, we fished a lot of spoons. And I'll show you what I'm using here. This spoon in particular, I didn't get a chance to fish it a lot. We're not really going quite fast enough for this spoon to perform at its peak. We were doing about 2.5 to 3, and this spoon really starts to pick up right about that time. This is one of Cal Kellogg's speed spoons. As you can see, it's got a very thin profile. If you look at it on the edge, it's got a pretty deep belly, so it's got a lot of incredible action. I mean, this thing will work in the water even down at 1.5 or 2. I fished it and caught fish, but ideally faster than that is a little bit better. It's a nice thin profile spoon. And then from the spoon, I've got a dual lock snap. This particular leader is about 40 inches long, and I have it wrapped around the rod, of course. Nice work, Mike. About 40 inches of this is 10-pound fluorocarbon leader that I've got on this, and it just goes up here to another swivel, multi-part swivel, and then I snap it into my main line, and my main line has the bead, trolling swivel, dual lock snap. So everything all the way down is fluorocarbon, but you don't, really the part I worry about is this piece in the middle, which is 10-pound fluorocarbon, and it's almost invisible under the water. And the reason I set it up this way is because you can unsnap this spoon right off the end of that leader and then snap on any other kind of spoon that you want to snap on. I've been using that a lot for spoons, for plugs. So that leader I may retie several times during the day because you don't want to use the same leader forever. But it is pretty nice not to have leaders tied on all your lures. And if you don't want to tie some sort of loop knot, that little a small dual lock snap works really well, lets those spoons work in the water. So when we were fishing over at American Lake, caught a ton of spoons on that little guy right there. That is just a blue and silver crip lure from Max. You can see it's got a very odd shape. These things are just crazy in the water for action, and they really don't pick up till about 2.5 miles an hour. We fished crip lures a lot over the past few years, and I would have sworn you couldn't catch anything on them, but we were fishing slow too. We were usually fishing around 1.8, right? And I caught a couple fish on them, but they're not that productive. You get them up above 2.5 miles an hour up in there, and these things are just killer. Especially this time of year, the spoon bite is on. What other spoons was I using? I used a Acme Castmaster a couple of times, and I do have some of those here somewhere. There they are. Oh no, that's not them. Here they are. So I was using a blue and silver Castmaster. Used these a lot when I was a kid, for casting, obviously. I never really thought much about trolling one. They troll fantastic. They have a lot of good action in the water. You can troll these fairly fast. We were running this almost up to 3, and it was catching fish very well. I would have to say that this is one of my favorite spoons because it's very versatile. I also like the Lure Jensen crocodiles a lot, and I have a lot of them, but I've been fishing a lot of other spoons lately and really enjoying them. The Lure Jensen crocodile is a nice spoon. I would tell you that the hooks that come on them aren't really that great. So you got to kind of, and I'll do a little video on hooks and rigging and stuff like that a little bit later, but you know, to each his own. Your mileage may vary. I personally don't care for the hooks that come on them. but a lot of these other spoons come with nice hooks on them. This is the other one I was fishing the other day. It's just a humdinger. This is the very small one. This is the 1/8 ounce. They make it in the 1/2 ounce also. That's better for a little faster trolling. This 1/8, you can't troll it all that fast before it starts to roll in the water, but I caught several fish on it. So that's what we were running primarily. The other thing that you'll see in a couple of the videos that we did that we've absolutely just been killing them on is a trout tricks worm. That is a trout tricks worm. It's just a 3-inch finesse worm. I've got it on, again, 10-pound fluorocarbon, about a 30 to 40 inch leader of 10-pound fluorocarbon. On this one, I just tied a surgeon's loop in the end. You can use a swivel if you want. These worms are not durable as far as, you know, once you start catching fish on them, and you will, as soon as you fish them, they get torn up pretty easily. But the way I've got this rigged up is the leader material goes to, I just tie an egg loop on it. You can use any kind of snell knot you want. I've got a light wire octopus gamakatsu hook, and I thread it all the way down through the worm. So that hook is coming out, oh, 2/3 of the way down the worm maybe, and it's got kind of a little bunched up area in there because the hook itself bends back because it's an octopus. Now Pete ties these on a sprout hook, which is a straight wire hook with a ring eye, and it works just as well. The action of this is actually imparted by this action disc from Wigglefin, and then that other piece that's on there is the dogs are going nuts next door. The other piece that's on there is a stop that you can order from Wigglefin. You can use bobber stops as well. I find this one holds onto the line better. And the thing with these rigs is you need to have something to keep that wiggle disc off of the worm, otherwise it bunches it all up. So bobber stops work as well. But when we initially started fishing these, we weren't fishing them with that wiggle disc. We were actually fishing them either on a slow death hook or on this same hook and pushing the bobber stop down a little bit to make that intentional bunched up part so it would roll in the water. And you had to mess with them a little bit to get them to roll right. But when you get these things to roll right, it's absolute dynamite. I mean, these things have been out catching everything else we fished in the past couple months, probably 2 to 1. I'm not kidding you. And then the other little plastic we've been messing with, this is just a shad tube. Cal sells them at his site. He sells a whole tube kit. Again, fluorocarbon leader, 10 pounds. You're probably sensing a little bit of a theme here. Goes down to that action disc. On this one, because the eye of the hook is in there, you don't have to worry so much about anything pushing on it. I put a bead behind these action discs all the time, even when I'm running a fly. And then right in front of, that's a number 6 treble hook. Right in front of that number 6 treble hook, I put 2 soft beads, and I push them up inside the body of that. So a shad tube, they use them a lot for fishing crappie, and it just kind of bunches up in there and gives that bulbous presentation to the front end of that, so it looks like more like a shad or a bait fish. And these things are catching fish like mad too, believe it or not. The soft plastics we've really fished a lot of in the past couple of months, and it's been working really well for us. The other thing that you may see us talking about a lot is a trolling fly. This is my absolute favorite trolling fly right here. This happens to come from the Gig Harbor Fly Shop, but Cal sells them on his website, Fish Hunt Shoot. This is just a zonker with a metal head. Those metal head flies, they sink well, they track well. We will run these with an action disc as well, although you can run them naked or you can run them behind a Dodger. A lot of these presentations, especially flies, we might run naked or even spoons. But occasionally, when I'm fishing the spoons particularly, I'll run them behind a Dodger. So the other day when we were at American Lake, everybody's probably seen that. That's just a regular old Shasta sling blade back before they were bought by Max, in a UV color. The UV finishes tend to work a lot better at depth because UV penetrates the water better. So you end up with maybe a little bit more visibility when you're deep. If you're fishing with lead core, you're fishing less than 20-30 feet, it probably doesn't matter. Sometimes I fish the UV finishes, sometimes not. Another Dodger that just surprised me when I looked at it, because it didn't seem like much. It's just a prismatic gold, silver on the backside. This is one of Cal's Sidewinder Dodgers. You'd be amazed how much action that thing has in the water, because it doesn't look like it's really all that special. But that throws off a lot of flash, a lot of vibration. This has been really good with the tricks worms. I've run flies behind it occasionally. I tend to run the flies naked. And then the other dodger that's really been tearing it up for us, again, from Cal at Fish Hunt Shoot, is a mini willow leaf. Those mini willow leaf dodgers, as small as they are, trail through the water, very low profile. It doesn't really drag a whole lot, but impart a lot of action on things. So the things that you're seeing that we're running the action discs on, obviously, a lure like that doesn't really have any action of its own. Fly the same way. So we run some action disc or something to give that thing a little bit of action. You can also impart the action by the dodger, but if you're going to use a dodger for action, you really need to use a shorter leader. So a 40-inch leader is not going to do you a lot of good if that dodger's way up here flying around and your lure's way back here. So when you're fishing with a dodger and you want to use the dodger for action, you really want to shorten those leaders up. A lot of people recommend 2.5 times the length of the dodger back, and we'll do that a lot with wedding rings and things like that, and get into some more traditional trolling techniques as we get into the summer here. But right now, this spread's been working pretty good for us. We'll throw a plug in there occasionally, and you'll see us catch a few fish on it. So that's about it. I just wanted to go through with you because I know I don't get a chance on the boat to really show you all the lures that we're using a lot of. So blue and silver's been working great for me. Copper and orange worked really well the other day. Water was a little bit stained, but the natural colors or the metallic colors have been working better for me of late, because it seems like the days have been getting a little bit brighter and the water we were fishing was a little bit clearer. So that's what we've been picking things up on. As we figure more stuff out about this tackle, we'll post more videos and let you know what we're up to. Thanks for watching, and click that subscribe button. Thanks.